Today I'm making a classic Cantonese dish which my grandma made for us all the time. Steamed fish with ginger and scallion. I'm talking about cooking the entire fish whole from head to tail, but it really isn't as intimidating as you think it is. Let's go. My favorite fish for this dish is striped bass. It's sustainably farmed, has a nice sweet flaky white meat, and is available just about anywhere in America. I've sold thousands of fish from this counter, so I know what fresh is. You're looking for clear eyes, nice red gills, and it should look wet to the touch. Thanks, man. Super important, Shaoxing. It's a fermented rice wine, has great flavor. If you can't get it, you can use sherry, but it's totally worth it because it's a great pantry item you'll use in so many other Chinese dishes. Dehydrated mushrooms are a totally different animal than their fresh counterparts. When reconstituted, they're super savory, hearty, and eat just like meat. So eating fish and fishing has been a big part of my family for a really long time. When I was about 5, my grandma took me out and taught me how to fish. And now that my daughter's 6, I'm teaching her how to fish. So you gotta learn how to fish, and then you gotta learn how to cook the fish in my family. So I'm gonna show you one of my favorite fish dishes here. I've got the whole fish, it's gilled and gutted, of course. I'm just gonna pat the exterior and the interior dry. And I wanna score this fish, and what scoring does actually, since the fish is kind of thicker in some places and thinner in the others, scoring will make sure the fish cooks evenly in the oven. So I've scored one side. I'm just drawing kind of 45-degree lines, 3 of them, all the way down to the bone. And this fish is ready to be seasoned. So fish goes into the pan, and I'm gonna season it pretty generously on both sides and inside. A little salt. A little pepper, make sure to really kind of get into the scores, into the cavity. So in terms of knife work, I'm gonna start with these mushrooms. I've just put them in warm water to reconstitute, and now they get nice and kind of fleshy. So they eat totally different than fresh mushrooms. They're really meaty, and they offer a lot of savoriness. So all I'm gonna do is slice them nice and thin. If you find that the stems are woody or a little too hard, feel free to cut them away and use them for another dish. So after my grandma taught me how to fish, I continued to fish. I actually spent most of my high school years working on a saltwater fishing boat, from becoming a deckhand to a boat cook. And to this day, one of my favorite things to do is still go fishing. All these ingredients are gonna go right into the pan and surround the fish and build layers of flavor. Just a few more ingredients, ginger. I'm really looking for the blades of grass cut on this ginger. So thin tiles become these really beautiful kind of blades of grass matchsticks. Ginger and fish are a real classic pair in Cantonese cuisine. My grandma always taught me that ginger helps kind of mask or absorb the fishiness of fish and leave the sweetness of fish there. Scallions. I'm just gonna take the tip and the root parts off, and I'm gonna cut these into, again, fine matchsticks to go onto the fish after I pull it out of the oven so I can run that really cool, hot, sizzling oil over them. So lastly, I'm gonna add the bok choy. These are really, really small bok choy, so if you get the larger ones, cut them down into kind of finger-sized pieces, but these are ready to just kind of snap in half and get added to the pan. Let me show you how to build the sauce. It starts with water. To that, add some chicken powder. This really is the secret to really great Chinese cooking. It's really similar to chicken bouillon, but it's a specific Chinese style. So if you find it at the Chinese market or product of China, that's the right stuff. We add this to a lot of things like stir fry and different sauces. A little bit of sugar. For the savoriness, I want a little thin soy sauce. And finally, a little bit of Shaoxing rice wine. Shaoxing rice wine smells and tastes a lot like sake. It adds a really nice aromatic quality to cooked foods, kind of like sherry. So if you can't get Shaoxing, don't worry, just use sherry. Last but never least, a little bit of sesame oil for that aroma. So the sauce is done, I'm gonna pour it over the fish and get it right into the oven. So I'm doing one layer of plastic to really kind of trap all the steam in. And then the next layer is foil to protect the plastic. I know what you're thinking. You're worried that the plastic is gonna burn, but no, chefs have been doing this for many, many years. As long as your oven's at 325 and you got the foil over the plastic, it's gonna be fine. I promise. So the last step for this steamed fish is a tableside trick using the oil crackle over the skin. It's pretty cool. Check it out. So I'm gonna get a combination of 2 oils nice and hot. One is gonna be a high temperature neutral oil, like canola or grapeseed. And the second oil is gonna be sesame oil for its aromatic qualities. You wanna use a combination because the neutral oil has a very high smoke point. Sesame oil, it doesn't, but it has all the flavor. So together, they make a great sizzling oil. So while the oil comes to temp, I'm gonna pull the fish right out of the oven. Plastic intact. So fish is out of the oven, I removed the plastic and foil layer, and now I'm ready to do the scallion and sizzling oil. The way the scallion is reacting with the oil and all the fish, it creates this amazing aromatic quality. So it's time to taste. The sweetness of the fresh fish, the soy sauce, that scallion oil, the mushrooms, all that comes together to make an amazing bite.
Pretty excited about today. It's a little ode to a chowder house out on the East End in Long Island that I like to frequent, Bostwick's. So we are gonna start things out with a little Fluke Milanese, gonna serve it with a radish salad and a little piccata sauce. All right, first things first. Fluke Milanese. Now, Fluke is a local fish. You could make this dish with any fish that is fresh at your grocery store, especially fillet style fish. Fluke, halibut, salmon, sea bass would work great in this preparation.
Besides the expiration date, is there anything we should be looking for when we're fish shopping?
So yes, Liv, when you go to your store, wherever you're buying fish, in a perfect world, the fish will be whole, because then I could look, if the eyes are clear and the gills are red, that means that the fish is fresh. If the eyes are cloudy, not a good sign. If they've removed the gills, often not a good sign, or if the gills are gray, not a good sign. So those are a couple of things. And of course, lastly, the nose test. Smell it. It should smell like the ocean. It shouldn't smell rotten. It shouldn't smell like cucumber water or bleach where they're hiding something. So I'm gonna season the Fluke here, just with a little bit of salt and pepper. We're gonna do both sides, and that's kind of gonna get us started off. And you can see Fluke is a relatively thin fish. It's flaky, relatively mild in flavor. It's just one of my favorite fish.
Did you dry the fish before you were working with it?
So yes, after we filleted it, we just tamped it with some dry towels to make sure it wasn't wet. That ensures that everything adheres properly to it. All right, so this is seasoned. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make my dredge for this. So we're doing standard breading here. Flour, egg, and breadcrumb. So it's an easy way to remember the order. People are always like, what's the order? February, F-E-B, flour, eggs, breadcrumb.
February 13th, Olivia's birthday. Got it.
That's how you remember it, yes. Everybody remember Liv's birthday. So we're gonna put a couple eggs in here, and I'm gonna have a little bit of fun here. I'm gonna put some flavors in the egg. I'm gonna put a little bit of hot sauce. Obviously, these are optional things. And I'm gonna put a little bit of Dijon mustard. And we're gonna whisk that in. Also, we're gonna season everything that we're dredging in with some salt, because if I don't season something, that level of it is gonna be flat. And you don't wanna season your fish, then not season the breading, then you end up with unflavorful fish. So we're just ensuring that everything is good and flavored. So this gets whisked together with that mustard and the hot sauce. All right, so now we're just gonna start our breading. So flour, egg, breadcrumb, and we just go in order. And you try to do it with, you have like a wet hand and a dry hand, so you don't get all gooped up.
I'm very curious to see if you can keep those dry and wet hands.
Sometimes I get a little confused. Liv's seen it happen. So flour first, dry hand. Shake off any excess. You drop it in, wet hand. Then we go into our breadcrumbs, dry hand.
See, but like, then your dry hand turns a little bit wet because the fish is wet.
Well, no, you get some of the breadcrumbs on there. See? These are big pieces, so it's a little bit trickier, but...
So it's not perfect?
It's perfect. I'm perfect, Liv. So now this is breaded, and I'm just gonna move it to my tray. Now, you could get a lot of this breading done ahead of time. With fish, I would say you could bread up to about an hour ahead of time. So we're gonna get this breaded, and then we're gonna move this into our fridge so it's just hanging out.
Are there different kinds of breadcrumbs?
Yeah, I mean, this is panko, which is like a nice buttery, flaky, gets really crunchy breadcrumb. You know, you could just use standard ground breadcrumbs. Those are gonna be good too. There's seasoned breadcrumbs. I would stay away from those in this preparation. I actually stay away from seasoned breadcrumbs in general, just because I wanna control the seasoning. I don't want my breadcrumbs to. So our fish is breaded. I'm gonna put this in the fridge. And now we're gonna start working on the base for our piccata sauce. What I'm doing now is I'm kind of staging everything so we could have it ready. So when we're ready to cook the fish is just like connect the dots and it's done in 5 minutes. So there's great ways to cheat that when you're cooking. This is a good one. Like, this is piccata sauce. So piccata sauce is an Italian sauce. It's lemon, butter, white wine. So we're gonna make our butter first and have it all flavored. So then when we cook the fish comes out, I can put the sauce together in seconds, sauce it, and it's done. So I have salted capers here. We rinse them off. I'm gonna put those in the pool. We are gonna put, it's about a full stick of unsalted butter, room temp, 1 garlic clove. So there's 2 ways you could do the garlic. You could microplane it in like this, or you could do what I typically do is I just flip it, smash it, give it a quick little run through with the knife, and that goes in. Then we're gonna zest and juice a lemon. Because the fish is breaded, we are going to really give it a nice acidic pop, which I know Lizzie's gonna like too, because as we know, she wants lemons in everything.
Do you ever use other citrus with fish?
Yeah, orange would work great. You know, if I was going a little bit southwestern in flavor here, I think lime would work good. So we're not only gonna get the lemon here, but we're gonna also use some white wine, which is gonna have some sweetness and acidity to it. So that will help too. Lastly is our flat leaf parsley. We're just gonna give this a quick little rough chop.
Are we going stems or no stems with the parsley?
I'm just gonna go mostly, not completely through the stems here. I'll save some of these stems, throw them in the compost.
And if I had to use dried parsley, would it be the same amount?
With dry spices, you're gonna wanna use about 1/3 as much as fresh. All right, so look, we just mashed this together. We're essentially making a compound butter here, guys. Capers, garlic, lemon zest, lemon juice, flat leaf parsley, unsalted butter, all mixed together. I'm gonna put this in the fridge with my Fluke. It's gonna hang out for the next hour or so. I'm gonna get this on. I just have a little bit of olive oil here that we're gonna shallow fry in on the grill. And this, Liz, shaved radishes, they're gorgeous. A little bit of flat leaf parsley leaves, extra virgin olive oil, kosher sea salt, cracked black pepper, and that's it. The one thing that I'm gonna do today, because I know you like lemon, we are gonna serve this with a very citrusy piccata sauce.
Ah, it's my favorite.
So it's gonna be really nice and tart and delicious.
Excellent.
So what I'm gonna do before you start making that cocktail is I'm just gonna start crisping up the fish. So couple things here, you guys, when you are crisping up fish. This is almost like a shallow fry situation. You could go a little less oil if you want. It's actually easier to work if you just give yourself a little shallow fry. Always drop things in oil away from you so it doesn't splatter. This is gonna cook very quickly. A couple minutes aside, the fish is gonna be cooked through. It's gonna be golden brown. It's gonna be ready to go. Okay, Lizzie, so this has been going for about 2 minutes, and you could see how golden it's gotten. So I'm gonna give it the flip.
Perfect.
Look at it. Our Fluke Milanese is crispy. I just wanna show you how to finish this sauce. So I took the Fluke Milanese out of the pan, wiped out any of that excess fat. Now I'm gonna deglaze the pan with a little bit of white wine, and you can see it's very hot. You want the white wine to reduce by about half. Chicken stock goes in. We're gonna let that reduce by half. And then this butter mixture that we made earlier with the capers, the parsley, the lemon zest, this is gonna go in, and we're gonna whisk this into our sauce. So here's our butter, and again, this is all about saving steps so you could see how fast this all comes together. We have our whisk.
And you have capers right in there with it as
Capers, parsley, lemon zest, lemon juice, salt and pepper. It is all ready to go. Obviously, we don't need much salt because of the capers. As soon as this starts to come up to a simmer, the sauce is finished. And then we're just gonna dump it over our fish.
Whoa.
Look at it. I mean, Liz, come on. The capers, the garlic. I'm gonna take some of this parsley and radish salad that I love so much and just kind of gild the lily with it to give it some more texture. And then I just leave a little bit of that extra salad on the side in case anybody wants to dive in.
Absolutely.
All right, you want to start? Yeah,
plate
let's
up here?
do it.
All right.
This is a big day. Liv has informed me.
Doesn't like zucchini?
Capers.
I like to put up a challenge for you, Michael.
You always do, buddy. All right, you ready to eat?
Ready.
Now the fish should be, you know, have some texture obviously on the outside because we crisped it, but then nice and juicy in the center.
It's really good.
I like this preparation with the sauce. It gives you some nooks and crannies for the sauce to kind of soak down into. It's really perfect.
My fish, lemon, and asparagus foil packet. So this is much like in papillote. I am using flounder today.
Love flounder.
You can use any
Love it.
white
I love
flaky fish for
flounder.
this, a thinner fish. Now a little trick with asparagus. If you bend it, it will snap at the place that it should.
Yeah.
So these are the parts that, you know, are a little tough. So you can kind of eyeball it as to what you need to cut off. And let's build these. All right, so first up, I put the asparagus down. And this is kind of like our little rack for cooking. And then I'm gonna
See
take
what you're doing.
a cup of the frozen rice. You don't even have to thaw the rice. You just put it right in frozen.
A little steamy.
Goes right on top, just like that. And
Look at
then
that.
our piece of flounder is gonna go right on top. And then I'm gonna add some lemon pepper seasoning.
Ooh, LPS.
And then I'm gonna add some thinly sliced garlic, just a couple little pieces of this to give it a little bit more flavor. A couple pieces of lemon on top. I put a couple pieces of butter on top. I've got a wire rack on top of my sheet pan here. All right, I'm gonna put these into the oven. You know, obviously you can cook it right on the fire, but I'm gonna cook it in the oven at 400 degrees, 20 to 30 minutes, depending on that size of your fish. Okay, so
Oh,
here,
I'm very excited.
Come on
I know
now,
you are.
This is the big reveal.
our fish in foil.
Oh, dare I say you could bring a little Tabasco
steamy.
along if you
Yeah,
wanted to.
a little
'Cause
shake, shake,
outside,
shake.
sometimes food you need more seasoning.
Flake it out, Jeff.
Oh, the lemon
The
pepper.
pepper is banging in here.
Yeah.
The lemon pepper. It just all these flavors melded so nicely. And I could just visualize this being cooked on the campfire.
Fried tuna sticks with wasabi mayo sauce.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
Tell
it's-
me what you need from me.
So because I bought the tuna and I'm gonna play with this and have lots of fun, I thought I'd phone it in a little bit with a store-bought shortcut. You can go to any store now and get a tempura batter, which is just basically
Yeah.
a really fine flour. It creates great crunch when you fry. So I'm adding some soy sauce. You won't see that on the box, but it's just got a little bit of flavor, and it's also gonna add to the golden color once you
How
fry.
much of it do you want?
So you can add the whole bag.
Okay.
And then this is some soda water. You don't have to use all of it because it just really depends on texture, but you kind of go in for like we always say a pancake batter.
Yep.
You see how the striations in the tuna are? Still,
Yep.
just like any cut of meat, we're gonna cut against it. So when you bite into your stick, it just pulls apart really nicely for you. Nice 1-inch thick pieces. And obviously it's gonna taper for you. Now, I'm just gonna season them 360 degrees. Little chunks right there with some salt and pepper. And then GZ, you're gonna be
Yes.
making the dipping sauce for this.
So I got mayo, I have wasabi.
Some
This
wasabi,
is
some
prepared
honey.
from a jar.
Yeah.
Some honey. Some
Lemon zest,
and
some lemon juice. That's all you need
All
for
whip
this.
it together, okay.
Yeah, creamy, bright, and light, and a little bit of funk from that wasabi.
Does that look good?
Yeah, that looks really good. Yeah.
Great.
Did you throw a little bit of soy
I
in
did.
there?
I put a tablespoon. Is that good?
Yeah, that's perfection. All right, so now I'm gonna get these onto a sheet, and then I'm gonna put them into the freezer.
And that keeps it from cooking all the way through.
Exactly.
So you're doing a little flour dusting so that this sticks to it?
Yes, I'm gonna get these into the freezer where I've got some more that have just been kind of hanging out and getting nice and cold and chilled. And you can tell because they're a little bit more rigid.
Beautiful.
Right, GZ? Now, obviously, parchment lined sheet. You can also do non-stick aluminum foil. You can find that in your grocer. And then just come right in and dunk. I've got my peanut oil at 375 degrees. That's
really important, yeah.
So when you drop things in, the temperature is gonna go down naturally.
I'm gonna hold that for you.
Yeah, just kind of.
This is
Drip,
gonna be
drip,
such
drip.
a good crunchy batter.
Now, if you have skewers, you can also do skewers. I really think that freezing it beforehand is the key, and realizing that this cooking process is only gonna take about 2 to 3 minutes for that golden crunchiness to happen. And then just get these babies out. Now, this is my trick. If you don't have a wire rack, just take some aluminum foil.
Exactly.
And make some little air pockets by bunching it up. If you wanna hit that with a little bit of
I like all
salt.
those little crispy cragglies. You know what that reminds me of? The fish place at the mall with the fried fish.
Oh, is that like everything,
crunchy.
everything salt?
It's everything bagel seasoning. Try to get it on right as you come out so it'll stick with that fresh oil. And there you have it.
That is fantastic.
Put them onto the tray.
I'm making my roasted salmon tacos with a crunchy red cabbage slaw. To get started, I'm seasoning 1.5 pounds of salmon fillets. I've got kosher salt and chili powder. This is so easy. I make these tacos all the time and I can put them together on a weeknight. They come together really quickly, but they also look really impressive, like we've been doing a lot of work. And I wanna get a nice thick coating of my seasonings all over the salmon. And I'll flip these over and make sure I season the other side. It's important to bring salmon to room temperature before cooking it to allow it to cook evenly. I'll season the other side with salt and chili powder. My salmon seasoned. I'm gonna get a couple of tablespoons of olive oil into my skillet. I'll add my fillets, top side down. And I wanna space them out evenly to allow them to get some heat on all sides. I'll let these sear for about a minute to get that nice crust, and then I'll flip them and then stick them in the oven. Let me check. Oh yeah, they're ready to flip. Salmon, I feel like, can be intimidating to people because it is very easy to overcook it, and then it'll get dry and not so great. But once you get the hang of it, you're gonna be cooking salmon every week too. Get those omega-3s. My oven is set to 450 degrees, and I'm gonna roast it until it has an internal temperature of 125 degrees. It'll take about 6 to 8 minutes. And while this cooks, I'll get going on my slaw. This slaw is crunchy and bright. It's a cooling contrast to the salmon, and it's a cinch to put together. I'm gonna start with the zest and juice of a lime. I'll skim off the very top of the skin, and this will add that bright, sour, fruity punch. This is such an easy slaw. I'll add some sweetness with a couple of teaspoons of honey, a few tablespoons of olive oil, and I'll season with kosher salt and a few shakes of hot sauce. And that's the dressing. Let me whisk this together. My dressing has emulsified. Next, I'll add my veggies. I've got half a head of red cabbage thinly sliced. Toss this right in. Red cabbage is very sturdy, but once it combines with the salt and the acid in that lime, it's gonna start to soften. So it's always good to make a slaw about 20 or 30 minutes before you plan to serve it. Half of a red onion, thinly sliced. Radishes for a peppery crunch. I love the pink and purple colors in this. And lastly, some fresh cilantro. This will add great freshness and a nice contrast to the pink and purple. And I'll toss it all together to make sure everything is coated in the dressing. This is glossy and coated in that dressing. Let me transfer it to my serving bowl. I'll pile this in. Beautiful. I think I'm starting to smell my salmon. Let me check on it. That's gorgeous. And that fried chili powder on the exterior is really doing it for me. So an easy way to tell if salmon is done cooking is if it flakes easily. So I'm gonna get at it with my 2 forks. Oh yeah, I'll break it up into little pieces. This is gonna go great in the tacos.
Oh my gosh.
Hey,
This is incredible.
I thought you could use a casual vacation from wheat harvest.
That's exactly what I need.
Come on over, let's eat. I hope you're hungry.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, let's make some tuna with some caramelized onions. These onions are gonna have a little bit of crushed red pepper in them and some cinnamon. It's kind of a cool recipe. So we're gonna thinly slice our onions. So we're gonna take our onions, we're gonna put them right into a saute pan with some oil, and we're gonna let them caramelize. We're gonna give it a little help by adding a little bit of sugar, some salt and pepper, and some crushed red peppers, and a few cinnamon sticks, which is kind of cool. You know, Sicily has so much influence, different influence in their food. Obviously Italian from the mainland of Italy, but also from places like Greece, Morocco, you know, some of that North African flavor that kind of sneaks in and seeps into the food there. That's why the food there is so just amazing and so diverse and so very different than what you might consider a typical Italian food. So we're gonna let these cook down. The cinnamon and the crushed red pepper will permeate those onions, and we'll get a nice sort of color on them. The sugar will help that. I mean, there's natural sugars in the onions as well, but by adding a little extra sugar, it just kind of helps the cause a little bit. Now, tuna. That's a great piece of fish right there. You know, in the south of Italy, very, very popular. And these are big fish, you know, these are huge fish. So think of it as like a steak. You can really hold it to lots of big flavors. Let's cut some steaks out of here. And when I cook tuna, I usually don't like thin steaks. I want it to be sort of thick, you know? Something like that, maybe like an inch to an inch and a half in thickness. You want the tuna to be nice and firm. You want it to have a real sort of brightness to it. I think 3 is enough. I always tell people, like when you go to the fish store, you can actually look at the fish and tell if the fish is tired. I mean, it has this tired look to it if it's not as fresh. But if it's glistening, that means that it's probably really, really fresh. Let those keep cooking. Very simple here. Some light oil like a canola oil, just lightly brushed. A good amount of salt and pepper. Remember, this is a very dense piece of fish, so we need some good seasoning here. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. And we're gonna cook these fairly rare. So it's gonna go pretty quickly, which means we need some high heat on our grill. So we're gonna take the tuna off now. Don't wanna overcook the tuna. Beautiful. All right, tuna's done, nice and rare. Just wanna sort of sear it on the outside. Otherwise, you're gonna lose that beautiful moisture from the tuna. We have some onions that I've been caramelizing with a little bit of crushed red pepper, tiny bit of sugar, and some cinnamon stick. And we're gonna take the cinnamon sticks out because these are not edible. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of red wine vinegar, a splash of olive oil, and some fresh mint and parsley. We're gonna finish it with the herbs. Just stir it in, take it off the heat, grab some tongs. Put the onions right on top of the tuna. All the juices from the onions will just kind of drip down. This totally reminds me of Sicily. Some of this delicious olive oil, and I'm gonna take just a couple of sprigs of flat Italian parsley. There we go, tuna and onions. All right, gotta make sure this tastes right. I always think Mediterranean food is always good with a splash of olive oil at the end. Doesn't hurt, that's for sure. The first thing you notice is the fresh mint, and then out of nowhere comes that cracked red pepper to just say, hello, I'm here. A little bit of heat, and it just works so well with this tuna.
Panko-Crusted salmon is one of my favorite ways to prepare salmon. It's delicious salmon, and it's got a great crust with lemon zest and mustard. It's fantastic. And the best part of it is I can make it in advance and just throw it in the oven before dinner so I can have fun with my friends. So I've got 4 salmon fillets, and then I'm gonna make a crust with panko. Panko's like great Japanese breadcrumbs, and they're really crusty. You can buy them in a specialty food store, grocery store in the Asian section. My seafood shop has it. I need 2/3 cup of panko, 2 tablespoons of parsley, lemon zest, that should be about a teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper. And I'm just gonna drizzle it with 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Just stir it up. And this is gonna go right on top of the salmon. This looks great. You can really smell the lemon zest and the parsley. It looks great. Okay, next for the salmon. So I'm gonna sprinkle it with salt and pepper. Make sure it's really well seasoned. Pepper. And next some mustard. So the salmon and mustard and panko, they're gonna be great together. I'm just gonna brush the mustard right on the salmon. It gives it lots of flavor, but it also helps the panko adhere. And now the panko. So I'm just gonna spoon it on and just sort of press it down so it adheres to the salmon. This is really one of my favorite ways to prepare salmon. So good. Okay, that's done. So I've got a really hot pan. I put in 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and I'm just gonna cook the salmon, skin side down. How gorgeous does that look? This is a great way to do it because when you sear it, you get the skin really nice and crisp, and then you put it in the oven and roast it, and it makes it moist and delicious. So I'm gonna sear it for 3 to 4 minutes in this pan, and then I'm gonna take the whole pan, put it in the oven, 425 for about 5 to 7 minutes, and then let it rest. Panko-Crusted salmon, a delicious recipe that can be made ahead and cooked really fast.
I'm making a salmon with apricot-ginger marmalade glaze.
Yum.
Oh, a glaze.
A glaze.
Galage.
A galage. I like to cook my salmon on one side. This is called salmon unilateral.
Wow.
Okay. So I had pea tendrils, peas, mint, basil, some shallots. You can go and have whatever you want. The pantry's yours. And I'm gonna finish my glaze. The glaze is easy. It's a balsamic vinegar, honey, and I've reduced it down to a nice syrupy bit. It takes about 5 or 10 minutes. Don't rush it. But balsamic vinegar is one of those things, as you reduce it, it gets sweeter and more fragrant. To that, I'm adding my pantry pull number 1, Jeff.
Apricot marmalade.
Or jam.
you.
And then fresh ginger juice.
Ooh, ginger juice.
So now easily I can see this could be any kind of marmalade. You could put some blueberry marmalade in there, or the mixed berry.
This would be great. If you put blueberry, I would, yes, Jeff.
Where'd you get the, you're like just glazed over. The ginger juice.
Ginger juice.
What, did you milk a ginger? Did you juice the ginger?
buy it.
What did you bought the ginger juice?
You buy it, yeah.
Okay, I've never
Or
seen
you could
it.
just
I'm gonna send
juice
you a
it.
link.
All right,
We
no
get
problem.
it monthly. We love it.
How you doing, Alex? Alex, tell us what you're making.
Well, I'm trying to kind of, since we're on sauce,
Yes.
I'm trying to imagine, like, you know, you make a salad or a side dish with a vinaigrette or something, but maybe a little sauce. I'm just simmering the shallot in a little bit of, just a dot of chicken stock. I'm just gonna put peas and honey in here. It's very fruity, which I love.
Incredible. Good. I'll check how my salmon's doing.
Teamwork.
So salmon is done when it looks like it's underdone. What I'll, I know, it sounds weird,
It's
but
like a cookie. It's like a cookie.
it's like a cookie. So if I was taught the center should be like a $50, and then it's perfect.
That's $1.
Okay.
Okay?
When you say a $50, you mean not like
Right
pink?
here. But the heat has come up through here and completely cooked this. The salad looks, oh, look at that.
That was
Up
crazy.
That
yeah, that was
that
crazy,
was like a board
Alex.
thing. You know, the board trend.
Yeah,
She's
that was
using
real
boards.
crazy.
She dresses her salad on a board. There's a trend right there.
Fred.
All right? You let me know when you're ready. I'm ready for you. Oh, she's
ready.
doing a duality. So
Well-
warm peas. Why don't you describe this? It's not my
Yeah,
dish.
warm peas with a little shallots and honey.
Yes.
And then the little salad of what you gave me, basil, mint on top.
Gorgeous.
You know, like you check your hair before you leave the house. Same idea.
And that is why she is an Iron Chef.
That's right. That's right. Because I would have just tossed it all together.
Thank
I'm
you.
a hot
This
mess.
is beautiful. It's an experiment in improv cooking.
I love it. That's what we do best.
What we do.
Okay, we have our salmonis.
I love it in a cast iron.
We have this.
There's
So
the
you want to
glaze.
smell that?
So today we're saucies. Is a sauce a glaze? You know, the difference for me is a glaze is like more sugar content, a little bit thicker.
Yeah, and you know, I understand that, and you put it in, maybe sometimes put it under the broiler. which I think is a great way to cook fish, by the way, is this thinner, raw, under the broiler, and just forget about it for 2 minutes.
With the glaze on there, you
Oh
get
my
that
gosh,
mahogany.
the smell of that glaze.
Yeah,
You
we're gonna
really
put
get the
here.
sweetness and the vinegar smell.
We're gonna put
That is a beautiful piece
some
of
peas.
salmon.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
I can't
Get
wait to
some
see the
sauce
undercarriage of
underneath,
that.
Geoffrey.
Yes.
That little fishy. You know, salmon's a fish.
And so what you want to do here is have this just sort of adjunct,
Okay.
you know, like an adjunct
Aside.
professor
Sure.
of salmon right here.
So, GC, most of the time you think of putting the glaze on the fish while it's cooking. Why do you serve it this way?
Well, I think that this is particularly sort of a different, you'll see, because the richness and the fattiness of the salmon really works with this glaze.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, and I think you'll see when you taste it.
I like the way
Chef.
it warms the top, too,
Mhm.
right
Yeah.
before you serve it.
Yeah,
Hot
the heat
glaze.
of that glaze
there
is
you
gonna
have a
like finish
beautiful-
the cooking process.
Glazed salmon with ginger,
Wow.
apricot marmalade, and a beautiful pea salad. Two
Wow,
ways.
I am a lucky
Two-way
guy
pea
here.
salad.
Let me get a little bit of
What
that.
a
Did I say
gorgeous
that right?
light
That.
meal.
All right, I'm going in.
Go in.
Look at that.
Oh,
You eating 2 Iron Chef's plates, Jeff. Look at your
I did-
life.
first of all, listen, I mean,
Tap it. I hear it.
you
That's
hear
a
it?
crunch.
Mm-hmm.
That fruity sweetness from the glaze, which is just addictive with that rich fish. That's why like kind of fruity, sugar, glaze, and salmon go hand in hand. But then you take a bite of Alex's just poppable peas and those tendrils in there, and it's got that super vinegary
We're
acid.
sharing calories.
And then the little just the aromatics in there from the aromatic quality of those shallots.
It's my catfish sandwich with a Chipotle-Lime Slaw. Now what's gonna happen is I'm gonna get some flour over here on the first one. A little bit of flour. And check it out, some chili powder. And this is gonna be the beginning dredge. This is what's gonna stick to the fish. A little chili powder and a little black pepper. Okay, this is what's gonna have first contact with the fish. Secondly, a little whole grain mustard. And the whole grain mustard is gonna go with a little beer, a little nice rich beer. You get that really great mustard flavor. You get the richness of the beer. You get the tanginess of the mustard, the sweetness of the beer. All these things going on, killer. Watch this little trick. Right underneath the hand. Boom, Yahtzee. Okay, there we go. A little dark beer in there on that. And then, to make this whole battering process go on, little panko breadcrumb here. Oh, good, I did have enough, okay? And these, a Japanese breadcrumb, really light, crunchy, holds onto the fish really well. It doesn't get soggy, doesn't get matted and cakey. Okay, some granulated garlic. Some paprika. Wow, that's some good looking color on that, huh? I always keep some fresh ground black pepper off to the side. Nice helping of that. Some salt, and there we are. All three are ready to go. Look at the color coming out in that. That'll really shine nice. Okay, so we get all this separated. The star of the show, these beautiful catfish fillets, nice and tender but firm, not overly fishy in their taste. I think they go great in gumbo, jambalaya. It's gonna work fantastic in the sandwich on this nice Cuban roll. I mean, it's gonna be quite the presentation. So we get this. Let me mix this up. Okay. Dredge this through here, like that. Here's my tray. Now into the beer, so the flour sticks to the fish. Now we get some of that great beer flavor and that mustard sticking to the flour, and then boom, into the panko, over the top like that. And I did not do my wet hand, dry hand, so as my son Hunter would say, I am now going to have Hulk fingers. They'll start building up. That's all right, I'm only doing 4 fillets. And what I'm gonna do is set them on this rack and let them dry out a little bit. And what happens, that helps the breadcrumbs adhere. And you see I'm really packing it on there, okay? This is gonna let the breadcrumbs adhere better, so when I fry it up, it's gonna give this nice, crunchy, stick-to-it kind of batter. Nobody flaking and falling off in this. Okay, some onions, red onions, some green onions, some red bells, some nice cabbage, and all this is gonna go together for this fantastic slaw that's gonna go on top of these catfish fillets that I have dredged in basically everything I have in the fridge and in the pantry. All right, get all this stuff down. There we go. Now this is gonna be the delicious Chipotle-Lime Slaw, and this is going to marinate in the fridge for a little bit. Let me get this out of the way. Oh, I gotta get a little bit of cilantro down in there as well. Let me just get a little piece of this out. Just a touch. Now, the chipotle pepper, of course, plays a nice piece in this, and you know on GBB that I love my chipotle peppers, but especially because when I'm thinking about being down in La Manzanilla, you know, my chill spot just kind of goes hand in hand. Okay, some mayo, some sour cream, and some chipotles in adobo. Oh, one of my favorite things ever. I'm not kidding you. You know, at Chipotle, being a smoked jalapeno pepper, they had to have a way to preserve the pepper back in the day, so they would smoke it, they would dry it out. Well, then they reconstitute it by making this adobo, which is kind of like a spicy vinegar sauce made with tomatoes, and oh, it's so dynamite. I mean, it just goes hand in hand with all kinds of great Mexican or Southwestern food. So a half cup of the sour cream in my precise measuring techniques here on GBB. Okay, let me get you a little salt, actually a little pepper, a little salt. Chipotles are a little small on this one, so I'm just gonna kind of use 2 on this one. Chop it up. Want to get as much of that sauce in there as I can. Okay, and as I said, that adobo's got the tomato sauce and vinegar, a little bit of salt in there to kind of reconstitute them and preserve them. Okay, so that's in. Now, here we go. Microplane, take the zester, get some of the lime zest in there. Not going down too far, just getting the top piece there, and then taking it and getting the juice. The juice by itself just doesn't say lime enough. Now, I'm gonna put some lime juice, and I'm gonna put some white vinegar. And why the white vinegar? Well, you know, the vinegar kind of gives that real distinctive flavor and says, I am slaw. And the lime juice has kind of the citrusy, acidic side to it. So, a couple tablespoons of that, and I think this will work out great. Okay, and before I go any farther, let me get a little bit of sugar in there too. Kind of bringing all the flavors together. Okay, so mix this up. Let this kind of hang out for a second, and then I'll pour it on top of that slaw mixture and pop that in the fridge. Cast iron skillet's ready to go, and we've only got about a 1/4 inch, a little bit more of oil in there, and these catfish fillets are ready to go downtown. Now, these are gonna go down, I'm only gonna put 2 in at a time. Even though the cast iron really retains heat well, this is great for doing fried chicken, by the way, I don't wanna put too much in at one time, have them steam each other and lose some of the spreading. So in, nice and easy. Look at that, about halfway up. And another one. That's a hearty portion of catfish, I may say. Okay, so we'll let that bubble over like that. Let's take a minute here and turn these over and see if they're ready to go. I don't want to mess with them a lot. Actually, I don't want to use tongs. I want to use some kind of a spatula and see if this is ready to go over. I really want to make sure that the crust, the crunch is really set up on that other side. So let me take a look here. All right, that bad boy's ready to go over for sure. There we go. And over on this one, nice golden brown. Look at that. Little Cuban roll, toasted it there with some butter. Actually grabbed some of this slaw, throw that right on top. This is Chipotle-Lime Slaw that I made. Fantastic. Let me grab a cuchillo. Look at that thing. And what we're gonna, look at this. I just gotta check it out. I wanna see what it looks like from the side here. It's enough to feed 3 people, just one sandwich. Take a look at that. Let me get into a bite of this. Wow.
Baked cod with garlic and herb Ritz crumbs. So I've got 4 center-cut cod fillets. I like cod because it's kind of a meaty fish, but they're center-cut because if you choose the end, it's going to be thin and they won't cook evenly. So 4 center-cut cod fillets. I brush the bottom with olive oil, put the cod on top. I'm going to brush the top with olive oil, and that way they're just going to brown really nicely. You don't want something that's going to flake too much because it just doesn't have the same kind of substance to it. So olive oil, lots of salt and pepper. You want it to be really well seasoned, and some pepper. Okay, into the oven, 400 degrees for just 10 minutes. Okay, now for the topping. So I'm starting with Ritz crackers. Bet you didn't think I'd be cooking with those, but they're really buttery and they have lots of flavor. So I'm taking about 15 Ritz crackers, crumbling them up. I need cracker crumbs. Just break them up into the food processor. This is retro food, but made more modern. I really like the salty, kind of buttery thing going with the fish. Okay, that's about a half a cup of Ritz cracker crumbs. If I can get it off. Right into a bowl. And to that, I'm going to add half a cup of panko crumbs and make it really crunchy. 2 tablespoons of minced parsley. 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. Give it lots of flavor. And some melted butter. Just pour it over. And this is going to make it brown and delicious, because butter makes everything better, right? You always want some kind of oil or butter on the panko. Panko is actually Japanese bread flakes, and it's really popular now, and you can find it in any grocery store. I don't know what we did without it 10 years ago. Okay, I'm going to add some lemon zest to give it kind of a nice edge. About a teaspoon. Let's see. I always do it right over the thing that I'm zesting it into because it really catches the oils. Much more flavor. More flavor in the zest than in the juice, but we'll use the juice later. Okay, that should be about a teaspoon. Some salt. Give it a stir. As I said, baked fish can be kind of boring. It's this crumb topping that really gives it so much flavor. Actually, not only is it crumb topping, but it becomes part of the sauce. Okay, the first stage of the fish should be done in the oven. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to add about a quarter of a cup of dry white wine, and I'm going to pour it actually directly on the fillets so the flavor really gets into the fillets. Just like that. A couple of tablespoons of freshly squeezed lemon juice right on the fillets. Try and catch the seeds in your hand. And then I'm going to put the crumbs directly onto the fillets. Just pile them on. If some of them fall into the dish, it's not a problem because they'll really get incorporated in the sauce and flavor the sauce as well. It's a lot of crumbs, but it really gives the whole thing a lot of flavor. I think fish can be kind of scary to cook because you always think you're going to overcook it. But if you have fillets that are all the same thickness and they cook evenly, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, back into the oven, 400 degrees for exactly 12 minutes. It's going to be so good. So the fish should be ready. This looks great. See how it makes crispy topping and also really nice sauce? I love the way it looks. I love the way it tastes. And you can see that the sauce is kind of thickened by the panko and the Ritz crackers. Yum. So we'll just do a little lemon in the dish. One of the great things about this dish is the dish goes right to the table. Don't need to put it on a platter or anything. I just like to serve it with extra lemon, though. Just put it right in the dish. People can help themselves. I just need a little taste because it looks so good. Think anybody missed this little corner? Crispy crumbs, garlic and herbs, white wine and lemon sauce. This looks so good. The garlic and the herbs and the lemon and wine. Nothing boring about this fish dish. Everybody's gonna love it.